We live in a remarkable world. In the next 15 years, the world is going to change more than it has in the last 50 years combined. And that's not just my opinion and the opinion of our team at Tomorrow Today. There are many insightful and powerful people around the world who are saying the same thing. Just a few weeks ago, Bill and Melinda Gates released their annual letter to all of their shareholders and those involved in their foundation, saying precisely that. And the reason that the world is about to change more in our next decade than it has in the last few combined is because we live at a time of disruptive change. A time when change is not just speeding up, a time when change is not just shaking things up with you. It's a time in history when history itself is shifting. And history will look back on this moment and identify this as a major disruptive place in history. And that's what our team at Tomorrow Today do. We look at that disruptive change and we help you and your teams to identify what it means for you, what it means for you as individuals personally, and what it means for your teams and your companies and your strategies. So this morning, let me just give you one simple example. It's a huge example of disruptive change, and it's going to touch and impact your life in a dramatic way. We are all living longer. We are living a lot longer than we thought we would. In fact, life expectancy is increasing by 1.5 days a week at the moment. By the time you get to the end of this week, you will have added another day and a half to your life. What are you going to do with it, by the way? My father's mother was born in February 1914, a few months before the start of World War I. She was born in British East Africa, and life expectancy for a white woman in the British Empire back then was 47. That's what she should have planned for. That's what her life expectancy was. My grandmother is still alive. We celebrated her 101st birthday with her just a few days ago. She lives on her own. She cooks for herself. She walks everywhere. That might be a clue as to how to do it. And that might sound exceptional, except it isn't exceptional. You see, in the last census in South Africa, I wonder how many people you think listed themselves as over 100 years old. Just get a number. The actual number is 15,386. And that's 5 years ago. Around the world, 380,000 people are over 100. That means there's a person turning 100 about once every 3 minutes. 1,000 people a day easily turning 100. And modern medical science is going to allow us to extend that even further. You are likely to live to 100. But my oldest daughter, my grandmother's oldest great-grandchild, Amy, was born in March of 1999. She will turn 16 in a few weeks' time. And together with everybody else who was born in the 1990s, Amy is going to live in 3 centuries. You know people, you work with people who will live in 3 centuries. And this changes how we think about our careers, at least it should. For my daughter, it should change who she thinks she's going to marry. If you're going to marry somebody at age 26 or 7, and that means you've got a 100-year till death do us part commitment lying in front of you, you'd better be sure that you're sure that you're sure. These digital natives, my colleague Ray de Villiers will talk to you a little bit later about them, are living in a world that is filled with technology and shapes them. But it's not just for the rich people who can afford all the medicines. This is for the poor people as well. In my pocket, I have a $30 smartphone made by Huawei. And we can add free Wi-Fi to that, which is all over the place. 35% of Joburg's taxis have free Wi-Fi, and all of the township schools do already. When we do that to people who will live to 100, regardless of how much money they have, we have changed the world. And I wonder if your company and the people who work in your company know that there are going to be new winners and losers in this changing world. And I wonder if your company is going to be amongst the winners. To do that, you have to understand disruption, and you have to see the future, and you have to make sure that your people are ready to go into that future with you. Thank you.